Magandang umaga, Filipinos. Good morning. You're watching Eagle News Mornings from Canada. I'm Thomas I. Likeness, reporting from our Eagle News studio in the western Canadian province of Alberta. My city is Edmonton, and I'm bringing you news and commentary from across the country. Well, we're halfway through the week now. How about that? Wednesday morning. We reached the midway point, and it's going to be a hot one. 29 degrees right now under mostly cloudy skies in Metro Manila. Feels like 35, though. AccuWeather says it should get up to 35 degrees today, and the real feel pretty warm, 42. Thunderstorm expected this afternoon, and the air quality, if you're going out, keep in mind the air quality is just fair. Well, get that second cup of coffee now. It's over there in the usual spot, 3-in-1 for those who want it. Sit back, relax, and I'll tell you what's happening in Canada. First, a look at the weather across the country. Let's see, our street scene today comes from Calgary. And thanks to EBC correspondent Tiffany Alasasas for this video. We're having a look at downtown Calgary here. A lot of happy memories of that area from when I worked there. But, you know, that was the dinosaur age when I was there. I was at a radio station there back in the 1980s. Can't believe it was 40 years ago. 40 years ago that I lived in Calgary, but it was a great place, loved it. Unfortunately, in this business, you tend to move around a lot. Well, across the country today, rain on the west coast. There was light rain in both Victoria and Vancouver today. 12 degrees in Victoria, 14 in Vancouver. We come across the mountains to Alberta. In Edmonton, sunshine. Love it out there. Had breakfast out in the backyard, as a matter of fact, this morning. 20 degrees today. Calgary, mostly cloudy and 17. Winnipeg's mostly cloudy and still pretty hot there. Temperature got up to about 26 degrees. Toronto, we've got clouds and 23. Ottawa, there's been light rain throughout the day, and it's a lot cooler than it has been, say, a week ago. 15 degrees there today. Montreal, light rain and 16. The Atlantic provinces, well, kind of a mixed bag. We've got sunshine and 7 degrees in Fredericton. Now, you remember what I told you about the Atlantic provinces. You really don't get summer there until July or August, and this is still June. So here we are in Halifax in Nova Scotia, one of the Atlantic provinces. It's just downright chilly there. Cloudy, and the temperature, 2 degrees. 2 degrees, and where are we? The 2nd of June. So they're kind of, that's what it's like there. We go north to St. John's, Newfoundland. They report cloud and 10 degrees. That's a look at the weather across Canada. Some of the stories we're following today, the anti-racism protests across the country, as well as the United States, and actually around the world. Dentists in Quebec are asking for some tax relief. Help is on the way in Ontario for those having trouble paying their power bill. What about Major League Baseball? Will we be able to hear "Take Me Out to the Ball Game"? I promise I won't sing it. Before we get into other news, I want to note that in my province, the month of June is Philippine Heritage Month. You know, thousands of Filipinos have moved here since the first wave of immigrants from the Philippines arrived here in the 1980s. And presently, there's more than 175,000 people of Philippine descent living in Alberta. And I want to thank you all for your contributions and sort of adopting me into the clan. You know, I'm one of those in-laws that kind of married in, and I always feel very welcome. As the violence continues in the United States, anti-racism protests in Canada have taken a different tone. By and large, they've been peaceful. You know, there's that invisible line, the U.S.-Canada border. We call it the 49th parallel. It's the 49th parallel of latitude. It's two different worlds on either side of that line. Most of the rallies here are peaceful. With rare exception, there's no vandalism, no looting. We just do things differently here. Now, that doesn't mean racism doesn't exist here. You recall yesterday I told you it's endemic. And you'll hear other correspondents talking about it on our news programs. The way our governments deal with the rallies, well, that's different too. One thing that is similar, though, politicians on either side of the border don't like uncomfortable questions. They tend to evade the issue even when cornered. I'm going to play you an exchange today just because I want you to see how they react. it's kind of the other side of their persona, as it were. This is an exchange today between a reporter and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau at his daily news conference. Trudeau was asked what he thought about how U.S. President Donald Trump was handling the protests in the United States. Was he critical of it? And if he didn't want to answer that, what kind of message would he be sending? Watch his response now. Face. And this goes on for 22 seconds, and then he'll speak.
We all watch in horror and consternation what's going on in the United States. It is a time to pull people together, but it is a time to listen. It is a time to learn what injustices continue despite progress over years and decades.
When he does answer, yeah, he did acknowledge there's systemic racism. More has to be done, but he completely evades the question, and I guess he didn't want to call out the U.S. president. Funny how they'll do that with opposition politicians, but not from another country. Well, let's move on. In my city, in Edmonton, about half an hour from now, a protest will get underway. This one is very, very different. The issue is the same. The issue is the same, but the protest is different because it's virtual. You know, because of the pandemic, organizers are doing it online using Facebook Live. The event had initially been planned as an in-person rally, but they switched to the virtual format to comply with Alberta's public health orders, because here, gatherings are limited to no more than 50 people if they're outside. Also in this country, people of Asian descent are facing discrimination as a result of that pandemic. And joining us this morning, we have Eagle News correspondent Jeanette Doiseau. Jeanette updates us on the efforts of the BC government to combat that. Good morning, Jeanette. How are you this morning?
Hi, Tom. Good morning, and good morning to all our viewers. So,
Jeanette, what's happening in BC? Tell us the situation there.
Okay. For a few weeks now, the government of British Columbia has been conveying their message against the increasing racism against individuals of Asian background, and it pertains to COVID-19. Hate crimes, particularly within the city of Vancouver, include physical and verbal attacks, as well as an increase in vandalism. And the attacks included an elderly Asian man who has dementia. So last Friday, the Lieutenant Governor of British Columbia, Janet Austin, took to Twitter her pledge to oppose racism and hate. She is encouraging people to join her to take the challenge of #DifferentTogether pledge. British Columbia Premier John Horgan joined her in denouncing racism and hate. Let's listen in.
The past few months have been a time of reaching out across the boundaries that divide people in society, and I'm proud of the way in which British Columbians have pulled together to keep each other safe. But sadly, our success has been marred by a troubling increase in race-based violence. Racism has no place in Canadian society, not now, not ever. I ask you to join with me in pledging to uphold our Canadian values of diversity and inclusion and opposing racism in all its forms. Together, we can stand up against hate.
The COVID-19 pandemic has brought out the best in British Columbians. We have also seen a troubling increase in racist attacks on Asian Canadians. The Asian Canadian community is so concerned about this situation that some elders are being warned not to leave their homes for fear of being subjected to racist abuse. These incidences of violence and racism are completely unacceptable. They are motivated by hate and misinformation, and there is no place in British Columbia for this behavior. Racism is a virus, and it must be stopped.
So leaders of other political parties in British Columbia also support this pledge. During the COVID-19 update yesterday, the Minister of Health and the Provincial Health Officer echoed and showed support to this pledge, and they praised British Columbians for speaking out against racism and doing it peacefully. However, they repeated that in continuous response to COVID-19, the limit gatherings to a maximum of 50 people outside in the open is still in effect. They suggested to find alternate ways of peaceful demonstration to continue to follow important pandemic safety measures. So Dr. Bonnie Henry, the top health official in British Columbia, said that these demonstrations have the potential for transmission to large number of people and will give the virus a chance to spread widely again if the tools that were proven to prevent transmission is not continually observed. She said she's hopeful that not too much had been undone of the sacrifices everyone had made in the last few months. Those in attendance in the demonstration, they need to monitor themselves carefully. If they show up symptoms, they need to self-isolate and ensure that they will not contribute in the transmission of this virus. In British Columbia, Jeanette Duazo, Eagle News, will live in interesting times.
Jeanette, what's the situation like with protests in Victoria? Have you heard much there? Are they large? Are people kind of distancing themselves? What have your observations been?
For myself, I haven't been really out there and actually followed the demonstrations. I'm following them, though, through posts in social media. I've seen some pictures. They gather in the groups of like 20 plus. Some of them are wearing masks, some not. And so it's really hard to gauge right now. I think it's one of those. So today they would have another vigil tonight, so we'll see. I'll just wait and see for pictures on the social media. I'm not very comfortable going out there and be in a large crowd at the moment.
No, you want to stay safe. I know yes. I spend a lot of time indoors myself. Thank you for joining us this morning, Jeanette.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Numbers now in Canada. COVID-19 has claimed almost 7,400 lives. You know, since the start of the pandemic, more than 92,000 people have been infected. About 49,000, or 54%, just over half, have recovered. Our Chief Public Health Officer, Dr. Teresa Tam, says almost 1.7 million people have been tested. Now, out of all of those people tested, about 5% are testing positive. Our federal health minister, though, says she's really troubled by the number of new cases occurring outside major cities, in small towns and resort area. Why is that happening? Very simple, it's travel. We're into springtime, we're getting into summertime, people are traveling. And she's telling people, if you're not feeling well, stay home. Don't go. Just stay home if you're not feeling well. And of course, follow the usual advice. You know, just because it's good weather, just because some of the restrictions have been eased, doesn't mean the virus has gone away. You still need to physically distance. Wear a mask if you can't physically distance. And of course, wash your hands regularly. Potlucks. Don't we all love them? Even though we're allowed larger gatherings in Alberta and other parts of Canada, sharing food is still not recommended. This is Alberta's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Dina Henshaw. She says sharing food, that's one of the ways the infection can be spread.
I would again urge you not to share food or drinks with people outside your household or cohort family, as this greatly increases the risk of infection by passing objects such as containers or serving spoons from person to person. I know it may be difficult or even seem rude to ask guests to bring their own food and drink and not share it, but it is necessary.
Still to come, dentists in Quebec want a tax break. The Ontario government has help for people who can't pay their power bills. What's happening with Major League Baseball? You're watching Eagle News Mornings from Canada.
Kahit na maraming kababayan natin ang nasa loob lang ng kanilang tahanan, Hindi naman ito naging hadlang upang ipamalas nila ang natatangi nilang galing.
Ano ang nangyari sa'yo?
Sa ating next episode, saksihan ang online audition ng ating mga TNG aspirants. Siyempre, dito lang yan sa pinakamalaking talent competition sa Pilipinas, Tagisan ng Galing.
This program is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved Nutri-Chocs, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutri-Chocs. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee. Masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matinco. R Square Variables Incorporated, CompuZell Computer Services, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, San-Mig Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! San-Mig Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
The Bulacan Bulk Water Project is a treatment facility that will provide bulk water to the 24 municipalities of Bulacan to meet the increasing water demand of its residents. Through concessionaire, SMC Infrastructure also initiated the significant improvements of the Manila North Harbor Port, the country's busiest port.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutri-Chocs. With active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chocs.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ibang klase ang sarap ng corned beef mo. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Kaya perfect ang sarap. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
This is Eagle News Mornings from Canada. I'm Thomas I. Likeness. Well, dentists in Quebec are feeling the pain. They say they have to spend more so they can meet safety standards before they can reopen their clinics. Eagle News correspondent Andre Lajoie is joining us this morning. Andre, what sort of government help are they asking for?
Yes, good morning, Tom. The dentists are asking from the Quebec government some help for the taxes, and if you're waiting to see a dentist in Quebec right now, you will have to wait and be patient for at least 17% of the clinics are open, and the doors will be they will be asking a lot of questions the Quebec Association of Dental in Quebec says that they need to do some more testing on the ventilations, and the dentists will need also more supplies like gowns, gloves, face masks to be able to help their dentists, their stores and everything. The Quebec Dental Association is asking the Quebec government to help to cover and pay most of the equipment, says Dr. Carl Tremblay, President of Dental Surgeons in Quebec. We are asking for $25 million, says Dr. Tremblay, to cover some of the equipment. And the Quebec government is still thinking about how to help them as much as possible. Also, there's many places like hair salon and massage and chiro places where they're still having problems. They have Ontario people crossing the river to have some appointments to help them to have their haircuts and things like that. So again, the Quebec people are asking the Ontario people to not crossing as much to come to Quebec to have the help because of the COVID pandemic. It will not help the situation if Ontario people are crossing Quebec side. So right now, for all the needs that the dentist, the chiro, and things like that, prepare yourself to pay a little bit more, like a surtax, to cover everything, to buy surplus things like gowns, masks, and things like that. So you may have to pay $5 to $30 extra for your to pay for everything altogether.
Andre, is the Quebec government receptive to either giving a tax break or money to dentists? Are they receptive to that, or is the bank empty?
Yeah, right now the Dental Association are talking with the government right now to find a solution to avoid so that the people don't have to pay that extra tax. Right now, lots of people are getting mad and frustrated to have to pay for an extra tax to their amount that they have to pay for their health.
Thank you for joining us this morning, Andre, and don't be a stranger. You're always welcome on the show.
Thank you, Tom. Have a nice day.
You too. And actually, one dentist was heard as saying it's like pulling teeth to get money out of the government. Well, the pandemic has hit us all hard economically. Eagle News correspondent Ashley Sackmar tells us about how the Ontario government is helping people who can't afford to pay their electricity bills.
Due to the economic hardships of COVID-19, many people are finding it harder to pay off electricity bills, as electricity is essential to staying healthy and connected during these challenging times. The Ontario government has announced that it will provide financial relief for electricity bills for Ontarians throughout the province. Minister of Energy Greg Rickford announced that there would now be a fixed recovery rate for all those who are in the time of use or TOU energy program. Take a look.
This past Saturday, we announced that our government will continue the suspension of time of use pricing. Starting today, June 1st, electricity customers will be billed at a flat rate of 12.8 cents from June 1st to October 31st, 2020. Call it the COVID-19 recovery rate.
The province has also revealed plans for the COVID-19 Energy Assistance Program, or CEAP, that specifically targets low-income families who find it difficult to pay their electricity and hydro bills during months of lockdown. The province will invest $9 million into the CEAP, and applications to be a part of the assistance program will be available in July. The CEAP will also be available for small businesses in Ontario. Rickford also notes that Ontario residents will be able to choose electricity plans that are better suited to their families. Take a look.
Beginning on November 1st, 2020, our government will offer electricity customers the option, the choice, to be billed by time of use or switch to a tiered rate electricity pricing plan. This action will allow Ontarians to choose an electricity pricing plan that best suits their household and lifestyle.
With all the challenges that COVID-19 continues to pose, every bit of relief helps ease the burden and stress everyone is carrying. In Toronto, Ashley Sackmar, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford says he's concerned about cases of COVID-19 in migrant farm workers in southwestern Ontario. Most of them are from Mexico. They're there to help harvest vegetable crops in the province. More than 100 workers have tested positive for the virus. Ford says he wants to look into that with public health workers and make sure other workers get tested. Critics say the government should have made sure the workers were better protected. And they say the crowded bunk housing conditions are contributing to the spread. Turning to sports now, standing by live this morning, Eagle sports reporter Zarita Sessi tells us what Major League Baseball has in mind for this season. Am I going to be able to take myself out to the ball game this year?
Thanks, Tom. Oh, good morning. So Major League Baseball in North America is the latest league to come forward with various plans on how they'll proceed with the season. Baseball has been on hold since March 11th, and since then there have been multiple plans proposed in order to salvage their season. So one of those plans was actually just reported on Sunday, where the Players Association put forth a shortened 114-game season to start in June. So along with that season, there is reports of some shuffling of how the teams are categorized. And of course, the outlier in all of this would be the Toronto Blue Jays, as they would have to cross the border in order to play and vice versa. An interesting point to this plan is actually that the Players Association added an opt-out clause for the players in the event that they do feel unsafe to play because of COVID. But the most recent report as of today is that they might actually just go to a 50-game season. But again, these are just all reports. So another factor that they're taking into consideration is actually a potential second wave of the virus. So given that the best time of baseball is in October, the league does have to be cognizant of that second wave. But regardless of what they do plan to go with, it's pretty clear that there will be no fans in attendance, just like international leagues that we've seen get back on track. But again, all of these are still up in the air, and we'll see how the MLB responds. From Toronto, I'm Zarita Sessi, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Before you go, Zarita, you know, the stadiums are sitting empty. There's no fans. There's no games. But I understand they're putting them to good use.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Rogers Centre, where the Toronto Blue Jays play, is actually going to be the house for, they say, up to 10 million pounds of food in order to store it to help Food Banks of Canada.
What about the business side of baseball? I'm not sure how familiar you are with it. Are the Jays and other teams able to survive what could be a shutdown of the whole season?
That is actually what the Players Association is fighting for, because they have mentioned if there is going to be some sort of way to retrieve it, it will be the players' salaries, and it'll be the highest paid players that will get affected the most. They're seeing up to 50% salary decreases, which they're not happy about, of course.
Not happy, but I mean, they're not going to be using the food bank food in the stadium, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for joining us this morning, Zarita.
Thanks,
There's
Tom.
always something good to watch on EBC. Programs like Vegas Variety, hosted by Anna Cui and Lanny Valdecantos. On that program, you'll hear people from different backgrounds, different walks of life. They'll encourage and inspire you by sharing their stories, tips, tricks, life hacks, helping people gain perspective to their everyday lives. That's Vegas Variety. Find it on Facebook and YouTube. That's our program for today. And on behalf of the Canadian News team, I wish you all good health. Take care of others. Take care of yourselves. Stay home. Stay safe. Stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic and other current affairs. Edmonton, Canada, Thomas Eyewitness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Now stay tuned for Angela Belita, hosted by Maricar Velasco.
Thank you, Thomas. Ingat po kayo dyan sa Canada.
Good morning, Maricar.
Na ang mga pangunahing balita sa loob at labas ng bansa. Tinagit at kinalap ng Agila News Team. Agila Balita.
Narito na ang maiinit na balita. Ngayon ay Miyerkules, Hunyo 3, 2020. Sa ulo ng mga balita. COVID-19 cases sa bansa halos 19,000 na. Bilang naman ng recoveries lampas na sa 4,000. Mga senators nagbabala ng pagkakaroon ng commuter crisis dahil sa kakulangan ng masasakyan sa Metro Manila at mga kalapit na lugar. Sa ating balitang abroad, Democratic Republic of Congo nahaharap sa panibagong outbreak. Ebola outbreak, 4 na katao na ang patay. Ako ang inyong magiging tagapaghatid balita. Ako po si Maricar Velasco. Sa detalye ng mga balita, halos 19,000 na ang kaso ng coronavirus disease sa bansa. Ito ay matapos makapagtala ang Department of Health ng 359 na bagong kaso ng COVID-19. Dahil dito, umakyat na sa 18,997 ang kabuuang bilang ng COVID-19 cases na naitala sa bansa. Sa bagong naitalang kaso ng COVID-19, 176 lamang ang fresh cases habang 183 naman ang late cases. Sa mga fresh cases na ito, 33 ang mula sa National Capital Region, 89 sa Region 7 at 54 ay mula sa iba't ibang lugar sa bansa. Sa mga late cases naman, ang 39 ay mula sa NCR, 8 sa Region 7, 111 naman sa iba pang lugar sa bansa habang 25 naman ay mula sa hanay ng mga repatriates. May 84 namang naitala na bagong naka-recover mula sa COVID-19. Kaugnay nito, umakyat na sa 4,063 ang bilang ng mga pasyenteng gumaling mula sa virus, habang may 6 namang naiulat pang nasawi dahil sa COVID-19. Sa kabuuan ay nasa 966 na ang bilang ng nasawi sa bansa dahil sa COVID-19. Dine-in operations ng mga restaurants sa mga lugar na nasa ilalim ng Modified General Community Quarantine pinayagan na ng IATF. May report si Vic Sumintak.
Pinahintulutan na ng Interagency Task Force o IATF ang dine-in operations ng mga restaurant na nasa ilalim ng Modified General Community Quarantine o MGCQ. Sinabi ni Presidential Spokesman Secretary Harry Roque na hindi nangangahulugan na 100% ang operasyon ng mga restaurant. Ayon kay Roque, mayroong guidelines na inilabas ang Department of Trade and Industry o DTI para sa operasyon ng mga restaurant sa ilalim ng MGCQ. Inihayag ni Roque, 50% lamang ng seating capacity ng restaurant ang pinapayagan para masunod ang social distancing at iba pang health standard protocols. Magugunitang karamihan sa mga lugar sa bansa ay nasa ilalim na ng MGCQ simula noong June 1 maliban sa Metro Manila, Central Luzon, Calabarzon, Cagayan Valley, Pangasinan, Albay, Cebu City, Mandawi City, Western Visayas at Davao City na nasa ilalim ng General Community Quarantine.
Nayagan na po ang dine-in operations pero hindi po nangangahulugang piyesta at inuman na. At sa ngayon po, ang dine-in ay para lamang sa MGCQ. Kailangan pa rin sumunod ng Minimum Public Health Standards Protocol. Pwede pa rin ipasara ang outlet kapag hindi sumusunod sa tinakda ng DTI at DOT na siyang maglalagay ng post-audit mechanism. Para sa non-single-use menu, sa pagpasok, dapat siya ay i-escort sa assigned table na may corresponding number. Pipili ng order sa menu na nakalagay sa mesa o sasabihin sa order taker na may 1 metro na social distancing. Ang customer at server ay kailangang mag-sanitize ng kamay pagkatapos mag-order at magbayad. Sa pag-setup ng service station, walang buffet at self-service areas para sa food bars, condiments at utensils. Mag-designate lang ng lugar para sa take-away or pick-up. Ihiwalay na lababo para sa hand-washing ng kitchen staff at ng dine-in customers. Contactless na drive-thru counters, pagsara ng play areas. Ito naman ang mandatory procedure sa paglabas. Walang physical contact habang nagbabayad. Maglagay ng maliit na tray sa pagtanggap ng pera. Mag-alok ng alternative modes of payment kung applicable. Regular na sanitation ng high contact areas tulad ng hawakan ng pinto, common tables at iba pa. Ang manager on duty ay dapat siguraduhin ang pagsunod na may minimum public health standards. Sa mga lugar na dineklara na nasa ilalim ng Modified General Community Quarantine, dine-in restaurants ay pinapayagan mag-operate ng 50% capacity simula June 1, 2020. Pero sa lugar na nasa ilalim ng GCQ, pakihintay po ang announcement para sa mga date ng reopening. So nag-aantay pa po tayo kung kailan pwedeng magkaroon ng dine-in sa GCQ areas.
Para sa Eagle News, Vic Sumintak, we live in interesting times.
Pinayagan na ng Interagency Task Force ang pagbabalik ng domestic flight sa mga lugar kung saan umiiral na ang General Community Quarantine. Pero nilinaw ni Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade na nakadepende pa rin ito sa desisyon ng mga local government units sa mga nakakasakop na lugar. May mga LGUs kasi anya na may mga agam-agam sa posibilidad ng pagkakaroon o pagkalat ng COVID-19 pandemic kapag pinayagan na ang mga domestic flights. Hindi tinukoy ni Tugade ang mga nakakasakop na LGUs pero ilan anya sa mga ito ay ang mga lugar na wala pang naitatalang kaso. Dahil dito inatasan ng DOTR ang mga airline companies na makipag-ugnayan muna sa mga LGUs bago ibalik ang kanilang domestic flights doon. Quezon City Government nagdagdag ng ruta para sa libreng sakay ng mga manggagawa dahil sa kakulangan ng pampublikong transportasyon. May report si Eden Santos.
Nagdagdag ng bagong ruta ang Quezon City Government para sa mga pasahero. Ito ay matapos ang pahirapang pagsakay ng mga empleyadong bumalik na sa trabaho simula kahapon June 1, 2020 matapos isailalim sa General Community Quarantine ang Metro Manila. Ayon kay Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte, sa paglipat sa GCQ ay kailangan tulungan ng mga tao na makapag-adjust sa new normal kabilang ng mga magbabalik sa kanilang trabaho. Sa ilalim ng libreng sakay program, ang dalawang bagong ruta ay ang SM Fairview, Quezon Avenue MRT via Commonwealth Avenue kung saan ang starting point ay sa SM Fairview at ang pick-up points ng mga pasahero ay sa Athenton, Doña Carmen, Don Fabian, Litex, Commonwealth Market, Riverside, Batasan, Don Antonio, Luzon, Tandangsora, habang ang drop-off point ay sa Quezon Avenue MRT. Ang Route 2 naman ay Nova Bayan, North Avenue MRT via Quirino Highway, Mindanao Avenue. At ang starting point ay sa Nova Bayan at ang drop-off point ay sa North Avenue MRT. Una rito, maraming pasahero ang nahirapang sumakay sa unang araw ng kanilang trabaho dahil walang masyadong bumiyahing pampasaherong mga sasakyan. Para sa Eagle News, Eden Santos, we live in interesting times.
Posibleng magkaroon ng commuter crisis. Ito ang ibinabala ng mga senators dahil sa kulang ang masasakyan ng mga mananakay ngayong umiiral na ang General Community Quarantine sa Metro Manila at kalapit lugar. Ayon sa mga senador, hindi dapat maging pahirap sa mga mamamayan ngayong new normal ang kakulangan ng sapat na transportasyon. Nangako naman ang Department of Transportation na tutugunan ang problema at humingi ng paumanhin sa mga aberya. Si Mian Rivera sa detalye.
Nagbabala ang mga senador sa posibilidad na magkaroon ng commuter crisis dahil sa kawalan ng sapat na transportasyon para sa mga manggagawang balik na sa kanilang trabaho matapos ilagay sa General Community Quarantine ang Metro Manila. Kwestiyon ni Senator Nancy Binay, paano makakapasok sa trabaho at makakabangon ang mamayhirap kung kulang ang mga pampasaherong sasakyan? Lalo na naging miserable ang kanilang kalagayan dahil sa ginawang pagban sa mga jeep sa mga lansangan. Iginit naman ni Senador Riza Hontiveros na hindi dapat maging new normal ang mas pinahirap at matagal na pag-aabang ng masasakyan. Ang kawalan-ani ng sapat na masasakyan ay lalo lamang maglalagay sa panganib sa kalusugan ng mga commuter. Para kay Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon, resulta ito ng palpak na pagpaplano ng DOTR. Kung desididoan niya ang gobyerno na ibangon ang ekonomiya, dapat protektahan din ang mga manggagawa. Humingi naman ng paumanhin si Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade sa publiko. May mga hakbang na anyang DOTR na inaprobahan ng Interagency Task Force gaya ng pagdaragdag ng 2 ruta sa Metro Manila ngayong araw. Kabilang narito ang biyahe mula sa Angat Bulacan hanggang sa Quezon Avenue kung saan naabot sa mahigit 500 bus ang papasada araw-araw. Bukod pa rito ang ruta mula Dasmariñas, Cavite hanggang sa PITX kung saan 151 naman na mga bus ang papasada. Pero hindi pa raw nila maaring payagan ang pagbiyahe ng mga jeep dahil delikado at mas prone sa human transmission ng virus.
The health and safety components are there. Pangalawa ho, yung hirap ng social distancing. Ang pangatlo ho, yung tinatawag na roadworthiness.
Umapila rin ang kalihim sa mga kumpanya na kung papapasukin ang kanilang mga empleyado, dapat mag-provide muna ng shuttle service habang hindi pa pinapayagang makabiyahe ang lahat ng public utility vehicle.
Kayo'y magbubukas ng kaganapan ng paghahanap buhay. Kailangan nyo lang yung mga employer ay mag-provide ng ways of communications and transportation kagaya ng shuttle bus. Ito ho, sambot at sama-sama tayong magkapit-bisig nang sa ganon ma-address natin yung tinatawag na balancing act in the performance of our mandate as transportation. We provide the modes of transportation as we balance that with our responsibility to make sure that the spread of the virus is contained, mitigated, and totally removed.
Para sa Eagle News, may Ann Corbera, we live in interesting times.
Inaasahan umano ang pagdoble ng unemployment rate sa bansa. Ito ang inihayag ni National Economic Development Authority Acting Secretary Carl Kendrick Chua sa virtual meeting ng Sustainable Development Goals Committee matapos hingin ni Marikina Representative Estela Kimbo ang updated unemployment rate sa bansa ngayong may COVID-19 pandemic. Ayon kay Chua, lubhang nakakaapekto ang krisis sa kabuhayan at trabaho ng maraming mga manggagawa sa bansa, kaya asahan ang pagdoble ng unemployment rate sa ikalawang quarter ng taon. Aniya, naragdagan pa ng 4.9% ang 5.3% lowest unemployment rate ng naitala nitong January 2020. Sa isinagawang survey ng NEDA at Department of Finance noong unang linggo ng Abril, nagkaroon pa ng dagdag na 2.2 million workers na nawalan o natanggal sa trabaho. Hinihintay ng NEDA ang resulta ng labor force survey para sa second quarter na inaasahang lalabas bago matapos ang linggong ito. Makakatanggap pa rin ng cash aid mula sa gobyerno ang pinakamahihirap na mamamayan at iba pang sektor na naapektuhan ng COVID-19 pandemic. Ito ang tiniyak ni Senator Sonny Angara na chairman ng Senate Committee on Finance kaugnay ng ginagawang pagtalakay ng Senado sa panukalang palawigin ang bayanihan to heal as one law. Sa panukalang batas, magbibigay pa rin ng emergency subsidies sa mga low-income households na 5 hanggang 8,000 piso, pero mas prioridad ang mga hindi nakatanggap ng unang ayuda ng gobyerno sa ilalim ng Social Amelioration Program. May wage subsidy rin para sa iba pang apektadong manggagawa gaya ng probationary, project, seasonal, contractual, casual at mga self-employed workers. Pero dapat direktang tinamaan ang trabaho nila ng COVID-19 pandemic gaya ng mga nagtatrabaho sa turismo, construction, creative industry, public transportation, trade, private basic education schools, and higher education institutions. Para naman sa mga overseas Filipino workers, bukod sa tulong pinansyal mula sa OWA, bibigyan rin sila ng livelihood at loan assistance at iba pang employment opportunities. Ang panukalang batas ay tinatalakay na sa plenaryo ng Senado at inaasahang maipapasa bago matapos ang sesyon ngayong linggo. Sa ibang balita, balik operasyon na ang Social Security System o SSS. Maraming mga miyembro nito ang dumagsa kahapon para magbayad ng kanilang mga kontribusyon at loans. Ang iba naman ay para makapag-apply ng ayuda ng gobyerno sa pamamagitan ng SSS. Lumipat na sa bagong gusali ang tanggapan ng SSS na nasa tapat ng Land Transportation Office sa kahabaan ng East Avenue para bigyan daan ang pagsasaayos ng kanilang gusali. Susunod, termination ng U.S. Visiting Forces Agreement pinasuspende ni Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Ang detalye na yan sa pagbabalik ng Agila Balita sa umaga.
Agila Balita.
Patindi ng patindi at tuloy-tuloy ang pagpapakita ng galing ng ating mga TNG aspirants. Abangan ang kanilang performances sa pinakamalaking talent competition sa buong bansa, Tagisan ng Galing.
This program is presented by SMC Infrastructure, Building a Better World. Sandig Sugar-Free White Coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved NutriChocs, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa NutriChocs. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matinco. R Square Variables Incorporated, CompuZell Computer Services, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, San-May Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! San-May Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
The successful development of TPLEX, or Tarlac Pangasinan La Union Expressway in 2009, a 4-lane toll road that extends from Tarlac City to Rosario La Union, with an additional approved extension of 56 kilometers all the way to San Juan La Union. This is expected to reduce travel time to Baguio and other provinces in northern Luzon. Realizing the vision of creating a better world for Filipinos fueled the team's focus.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved NutriChocs. With active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa NutriChocs.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ibang klase ang sarap ng corned beef mo. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Kaya perfect ang sarap. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
Termination ng U.S. Visiting Forces Agreement pinasuspende ni Pangulong Duterte. May report si Vic Sumintak. Vic?
Pinigil ng Malacanang ang pagpapawalang bisa sa Visiting Forces Agreement o VFA sa pagitan ng Pilipinas at Amerika. Sinabi ni Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin na ipinag-utos ni Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte ang suspensyon ng VFA termination dahil sa political at regional development sa Asian region. Ayon kay Locsin, self-explanatory ang kanyang kalatas na ipinadala sa US government na malugod namang tinanggap ng Amerika. Magugunitang dahil sa pagkansila ng US visa ni Senador Ronald Bato de la Rosa noong January ng taong kasalukuyan ay nagalit ang Pangulo at pinawalang visa ang VFA. Batay sa proseso ng pagpapawalang visa ng treaty, kailangan lamang na magpadala ng formal notice ang isang partido at sa loob ng isang taon ay automatiko nang terminated na ang naturang treaty. Para sa Eagle News, Vic Sumintak, we live in interesting times.
Patuloy ang pagdami ng natatanggap na tawag ng PNP Helpline 16677 mula ng formal itong ilunsad sa publiko. Ayon kay PNP Chief P. General Archie Gamboa, umabot na sa 304 ang tawag na may kaugnayan sa COVID-19 ang natanggap nila mula sa iba't ibang lugar sa bansa. Bukod anya sa mabilis na pagsagot sa tawag, kaakibat nito ang mabilis din na aksyon sa problema na idinudulog ng publiko. Bago pa man ilunsad ng PNP Helpline 16677, umabot na sa mahigit 8,000 na tawag ang mga mensahe ukol sa ipinapatupad na lockdown ang natanggap ng Joint Task Force COVID Shield. Sa harap nito, muling ipinaalala ni Gamboa sa publiko na ang tuloy-tuloy ang kanilang checkpoint operation at patuloy ding umiiral ang curfew sa ilalim ng General Community Quarantine.
Mga pangyayari sa labas ng bansa. Balitan Abroad.
Nakapagtala ng bagong Ebola outbreak ang Democratic Republic of Congo. Ayon kay Dr. Congo Health Minister Eteni Longondo, na 4 na katao na ang namatay dahil sa Ebola sa isang district sa northwestern city ng Mbandaka. Sinabi ng opisyal na kinumpirma ng kanilang National Institute of Biomedical Research na positibo sa Ebola ang nakuhang samples mula sa Mbandaka. Aniya, magpapadala na sila ng bakuna at gamot sa naturang lugar para mapigilan ang outbreak.
Notre pays est encore appelé à faire face à une autre épidémie de la maladie à virus Ebola dans la province de l'Équateur. Celle-ci est la 11e épidémie dans notre pays. Depuis le 31 mai 2020, 8 cas de fièvre hémorragique, parmi lesquels 2 positifs vivants, 2 cas suspects, 1 décès positif et 3 décès probables ont été notifiés dans la ville et la zone de santé de Mbandaka. Ainsi, nous vous exhortons à ne pas céder à la panique, car le ministère de la Santé vient de prendre toutes les dispositions utiles pour riposter efficacement à cette 11e épidémie à la maladie à virus Ebola.
Unti-unti nang nagbubukas ang mga paaralan sa Singapore matapos naluwagan ang ipinapatupad na restrictions bunsod ng coronavirus pandemic. Ang mga mag-aaral ay masayang nagbalik sa paaralan na nakasuot ng face mask. Ayon sa isang magulang na si Cheryl Chan, excited na pumasok ang kanyang 5 taong gulang na anak. Maagaan niyang gumising ang kanyang anak at naghanda sa pagpasok sa paaralan. Magugunit ang nagpatupad ang Singapore ng partial lockdown noong unang bahagi ng Abril dahil sa COVID-19 pandemic. Ang Singapore ay nakapagtala ng mahigit 35,000 COVID-19 cases at nasa 24 lamang ang naitalang nasawi dahil sa sakit.
And also before that, the teachers has also placed designated seatings on all the chairs and tables. So this is to ensure that children know where exactly they are supposed to be and we minimize children's movement in the classrooms and within the center. For them, it's really hard to get used to. They are okay with designated seatings, but for them to try to stay away from each other, we need to let them know in fun and engaging ways, like through games, through also explanation. The older children, through explanations, they will be able to understand when they know what is happening around the world and how these little actions that we do actually make a huge difference. They will be a lot more cooperative.
Yeah, and he's super excited. Yeah, so he woke up early in the morning telling me, "Mama, it's time for me to brush my teeth and go to school." Yeah, so you can feel the anticipation of coming back to school. Yeah, I am actually happy that we're moving into phase 1. Things are more stable now. Just this morning, looking out of my window, there's more cars on the road. There's more human traffic. It's a happy scene, yeah, because for the past 2 months it's been very quiet, it's been very tough. Every day it's just negative news. Now we know that everything is a little more stable. Let's hope that everybody does their part so that we will not face a second wave.
Inaasahang babagsak ang French economy ng 11% ngayong taon dahil sa epekto ng coronavirus crisis. Ito ang inihayag ni French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire. Anya, malaking dagok sa ekonomiya ang COVID-19 pandemic, subalit kumpiyansaan niya silang makakabawi ang kanilang ekonomiya sa taong 2021.
Chiffre de récession de 8% était provisoire, que le choc avait été très brutal, que notre économie était quasiment à l'arrêt pendant plusieurs semaines et que ça se traduirait dans le chiffre de la récession de 2020. Effectivement, le chiffre qui va être présenté au Conseil des finances publiques, c'est moins 11% pour l'année 2020 pour la croissance française.
At yan ang naging kabuuan ng ating may init na balita. Sa pangalan ng ating mga kaagapay sa Eagle News Service, ako po si Maricar Velasco and we live in interesting times. Susunod na ang programang Saganang Mamamayan kasama sina Congressman Dante Marcoleta at Jenso Borjaga.
Sumayin niyo ang mga balitang kinarap, maingat na isinulat at inihanay ng Eagle News Service.